Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Barry, for the introduction. I'd like to start by thanking my friends, family, teammates, everyone that's here tonight to support me on this very memorable occasion. I appreciate you being here. Also, thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for honoring me with this distinguished award. I actually remember coming to this event as an athlete. Now, granted, it wasn't in this beautiful new building. It was up on the hill over there in Chandler, which Ron tells me doesn't even exist anymore. And back then, all the student athletes had to go from every sport, so this room was filled with student athletes. But I do see some student athletes here tonight. I see Jen brought some of the volleyball players, and I know what you guys are thinking. You're wondering when this is going to be over so you can get to the Loomis. I understand. We were thinking the same thing. You guys can back me up, blow off a little steam before finals. I understand. But honestly, I remember being here as a student athlete, and I would watch Rich come up, and he would introduce everybody and read off their list of accomplishments and statistics. And I would think to myself, how am I ever going to be that good? How am I ever going to get there? And so we would leave here. We would go home. We'd take our finals, go home for the summer. And thinking about tonight, I'd train a little bit harder, push myself a little bit further. And I'd be lying if I said that being here tonight wasn't a goal of mine. And so as I stand here tonight, I feel very proud and humbled to be put in a class with so many amazing athletes, including Carrie, Alex, Shelley, Cecil, and to be joining my fellow volleyball inductees, Jody Burns, and my teammate, Melanie Bull-Lewis. I'd like to take just a few minutes, if I could, to thank some of the people that have helped me get here today. First of all, my teammates, some of which are here tonight in the back. Without my teammates along the way, I simply wouldn't be here. Without digs and passes from Mel, Sarah, Lori, granted, you guys made me run around a little bit more than I would have liked sometimes, but most times you're pretty damn good. And without my hitters. Without a hitter, a set never becomes an assist. I've had some pretty amazing hitters in my career, some of which stand out in my mind: Beth, Sarah, Allie, Jessa, Tanya, Colleen. But the very best ever is sitting in the room tonight, and that's Melanie Bull-Lewis. Mel, thank you for the literally thousands of assists. And to Mel, Sarah, Lori, all of you, thank you for being lifelong friends. I also need to take a minute and thank the person that got me into volleyball in the first place, and that's my dad. I used to go watch my dad play as a little girl, and I'd say, "Dad, can you teach me how to do that?" So long before I was even old enough to play in school, my dad would take me out in the backyard, and we would pepper back and forth for hours and hours until the sun went down. He even came up with this game where he would pass me the ball, and then I would set it into the basketball net over and over and over again. And not because he was making me do it, but I just honestly loved it, and he was just there to help. Once I was finally old enough to play for school, my dad would be at every game. Every game. He didn't miss a single game. Up until my college years, when we were traveling all over the country, he was always there. He didn't miss a single game, middle school, high school, years of club ball. He was always there. He was my constant supporter, and I'm so grateful to him, so thank you, Dad. Also to my mom, who was also right by his side, oftentimes cheering me along, making sure that, like Carrie, my uniforms were pressed and ready to go. The cooler for the tournament was packed, and to nurse me back to health when I had injuries. So to my mom, thank you. And of course, my coaches along the way. From sixth grade gym class with Darla Pennywell, middle school coaches, many amazing club coaches, Marianne, one of them who's here tonight. But one coach had far more impact than any of the others, and that's my high school coach of 4 years and my last year at club ball, and that's Eric Myers. It's really hard for me to call him Eric. I really want to call him Coach. Eric taught me pretty much everything I know about volleyball. He was more than a good coach, though. He honestly cared about his players. My junior year of high school, I suffered a season-ending injury my second game of the season, which as a 16-year-old is pretty much the most devastating thing that ever happened to me. But Eric was there for me. He was a shoulder to cry on. A lot. I cried a lot that season. And I know Eric was thinking, God, why did I coach girls? All these chicks do is cry. But he was there for me. And he said, Jay, this will not be what defines your career. You will come back. And along with him and Melanie, we won a state championship together the very next year. And to this day, it's still one of the things that I'm most proud to have been a part of. When it was time to come to play at the next level, it was Eric who said, why don't you think about playing at the Division II level? Now, of course, I was dead set on playing Division I, but Eric was real with me, and he said, Jay, you're 5'7". I know it says you're 5'9" in the program, but you're 5'7". Yeah, you could probably go play D1 somewhere and ride the pine for the first 2 years, playing behind some 6-foot setter, and maybe your junior or senior year, you'll get an opportunity to start. Or you could go D2 and be a superstar. So that's where my next coach comes in, Scott Pennywell. Scott was the one that recruited me to Clarion. Now, I knew who Scott was. He was very well known in the York area where I grew up. But I remember the first time that I actually really spoke with Scott. It was at a club tournament my junior year. I was just coming back from reconstructive knee surgery, having my ACL done. And so he came to watch a game that I thought I'd played pretty well in. And he comes up to me after the game and he says, you're a little slow right now. You're not getting to the net fast enough. So I was like, okay. So I looked at my dad after he left. I said, well, I guess I'm not going to Clarion. But Scott was persistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. And so I came to Clarion, and it was one of the best decisions I could have ever made. So to Scott and Eric, thank you. Thank you for putting me on the path that led me to Clarion University, for making me a better player and a better person. Not only because I received an excellent education at Clarion, had a blast playing volleyball for 4 years, but most importantly, because Clarion is where I met the love of my life and my husband, Sean. He has been by my side since we met when we were sophomores when I was 19 years old, and I just simply can't imagine my life without you. Not only did I get Sean, but I became a part of the most amazing, loving, supporting family in the Saad family, and I feel very blessed. So again, to everyone that's helped me to get here tonight, my most sincerest thank you goes out to you. For everyone at Clarion University, Rich Herman, Chris Rossetti, Bob Carlson, Dave Cadis, Thunder, who's not here tonight, but him and his wonderful team of trainers. They had to attend to Sean a lot more than they had to attend to me, but they were always there for us. To Scott Courtney, he always kept us looking great, made sure we had everything we needed, and was always one of our biggest supporters. To all of you who made Clarion one of the most wonderful 4 years of my life, thank you. I appreciate it.